Hey, this is Anney.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff I Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio. And today, for our Feminist Movie Friday, which potentially could be a Wednesday, we've got a lot of things moving around, but I think it'll be a Friday. We are continuing with our month of revisiting some childhood favorites of ours. And if you don't know this, typically how this works is we alternate, Samantha and I, choosing the book and the movie. This month, the movie was mine. Samantha got the book, which you could already hear. So this is... Oh, I loved this movie. We are bringing back the animated 1982 film, The Last Unicorn, directed and produced by Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass.
Yeah, this is where I was like, oh, I realized the names are the animators for all the Christmas classics.
Yes, all the claymation things.
Yeah.
Yes, that they did it the same.
I don't know. The others didn't give me as much nightmare as this one, so keep going.
It's a very different vibe, this one, which we're going to get into. When I suggested this, I was like, Samantha, I think this might say something about me. But anyway, it was based on a book from 1968 written by Peter S. Beagle, who also did the screenplay for the movie, and was animated by the early version of Studio Ghibli. The cast includes Mia Farrow, Alan Arkin, Christopher Lee, Jeff Bridges, Tammy Grimes, and Angela Lansbury. So... a lot of big names. Mm. It also includes a banging soundtrack from the band America.
A banging soundtrack.
Oh, I tell you, I would sing it right now if I didn't think everybody would turn it off. I loved it. I burnt it on a CD.
That makes sense.
Yes. When it came out, while the reviews were generally positive, it wasn't a commercial success. Since its release, though, it's become a cult favorite, and in 2003, it was named as the 96th greatest animated film of all time by the Online Film Critics Society. And the animation is really beautiful. It's really striking. It has a couple of different styles throughout that kind of evoke flipping through a fairy tale book and something popping off the page. This is also known as the anti-Disney movie, which we're going to talk about more, too. But yeah, yes, I loved it. I would watch it over and over. I had the songs. I'd belt them out. Me and my friends would watch it and argue about whether or not the unicorn should have made the choice that she did, which we're going to talk about. I was terrified of the Red Bull, and I would watch the red of the taillights of cars and be scared. Like, that's how much it scared me.
That makes sense.
Yes. And to this day, I find myself quoting this movie, most often Molly's speech, "How dare you come to me now when I am this?"
It did. That was poignant.
That was a good speech.
It was. She had been waiting all her life.
Yeah.
And now that she's in the worst place in her moments.
Now the unicorn shows up. Yes. Now, this is interesting to me because after you watched it, you were like, this is traumatizing.
What the hell? This is why you know when you watch things as a child, because Ray, our listener, who agreed with me about Zoobly Zoo being like, we loved it as kids, and then growing up, we're like, what? Yeah. What were we thinking? Oh, yeah, that someone was on something.
I was so excited for you to watch it because I knew I am well aware of what this is.
And this is one of those mini classic blunders of ours, because every time you say The Last Unicorn, I'm thinking Legend, which is also a horrifying scape of like, what the hell were you thinking type of movie. The first for Tom Cruise, pantsless, by the way, with Tim Curry being the most terrifying devil ever. But I would always get the two confused. I was always like, wait, what? And every time you talk about The Last Unicorn, I'm like, I don't remember that part, which I had never seen. Last Unicorn, I've never seen.
Yeah, I think I had made an outline years ago.
Yeah,
I think 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's how long I've been waiting for this moment.
Been waiting.
But I have a list of traumatizing children's movies, and if we could find a way to work in The Dark Crystal or Watership Down, I'd be talking about them. You best believe. Some of them I've revisited, and I'm like, as an adult, this is not scary. I see why it scared me as a child. Those two are still kind of frightening.
Yeah. The one similar to Dark Crystal. What is it?
Oh, with David Bowie?
With David Bowie. Which
Labyrinth.
that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I didn't see that until I was much older.
See, I never watched, and I've never seen Dark Crystal. It feels like we're definitely divided. We were also different timelines.
Yeah.
But I watched The Labyrinth and loved it. Never seen Dark Crystal.
Oh, I love Dark Crystal. Maybe we should have if we're ever really busy, we should just have an episode where we talk about the childhood movies.
Yes, and why.
And why. However, I do think The Last Unicorn has a lot of feminist thoughts to it.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Okay. So the plot focuses on a female unicorn who has noticed that something is off about her forest. And through some hunters and a cryptic butterfly, she learns that she may be the last of her kind and that the rest of the unicorns have been captured and perhaps killed by a monstrous entity known as the Red Bull, who herds them towards the ends of the earth. Though she is warned it is dangerous, not just for her, but for the animals of her woods, because basically she protects them just by being there, she leaves her forest in search of others like her. On her journey, she is captured by an old woman named Mommy Fortuna, who cages her and puts her in a traveling circus called the Midnight Carnival. Most of the creatures on display are regular animals, but Mommy Fortuna has spelled them to look magical or different. She even she spells a horn on the unicorn, since most people have lost their ability to see the truth of a unicorn's nature. So they see a white mare. So even though she has a horn, Fortuna puts another one on her. She has also caged an immortal and dangerous harpy, Seleno, and is very, very proud of this fact. Oh, she's so proud. The unicorn meets and befriends a fledgling magician named Schmendrick, who promises to help release her, which he does. But in the process, he also releases the harpy, who kills Mommy Fortuna. And basically, like, Mommy Fortuna, the unicorn says, your death waits in that cage. She's going to kill you. And Mommy Fortuna is like, yes, but my immortality is that I will live forever because I caged her and she will never be able to forget it. This scene.
Real evil.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it stuck with me so much because Mommy Fortuna is so gleeful at having captured this harpy, even knowing she's going to die and have this violent death by this harpy. The music that's playing when it happens, oh my gosh. And the harpy like kind of eats at her. Mm-hmm. Oh, and the unicorn and Schmendrick have to slowly walk away so as not to draw her attention. This was also a cool moment in terms of, like, you have the unicorn let the harpy go because they're both immortals and they understand each other. But it was a cool moment in terms of, like, this is a very dangerous world. I feel like a lot of the fantasies around unicorns are like, oh, it's all nice and nothing violent happens. And this was like, oh, no. And she was very aware that the harpy was going to do this when she released her. So they then run into a roving band of brigands they're kind of painted as the sad Robin Hood crew. They're like eating water soup. And Schmendrick uses his magic to startle them by kind of summoning the real Robin Hood and crew. And this is when Schmendrick, in another very traumatizing scene, is tied to a tree and then uses his magic to he just is like magic to as you will, and it turns the tree into a big bosomous sentient tree that is smothering him with her breast, her very voluptuous breast.
Lopsided, voluptuous breast, which you already see. There's indentations in the tree before she becomes the tree, which makes me laugh. And then also, like, the fact that she's like, no, I love you. I will kill you. We will die together. I'm like, my God, what is happening?
Yep. This was a scene in a movie that I loved. And the unicorn comes and rescues him and turns the tree back into a tree. All is well. But this is also when they are joined by Captain Cully's lover. So Captain Cully was the leader of the sad Robin Hood troupe, Molly Grew, who immediately wants to aid the unicorn in her journey. And this is when she gives her speech, which I'm going to talk about more. As they get closer to King Haggard's castle, which is where the unicorns are rumored to be, they run into the Red Bull and all of his fiery, angry glory. In a panic, Schmendrick uses his magic to transform her into a human woman. The Red Bull loses interest and retreats. He only cares about unicorns. But the unicorn is in total shock in this new body and with her newfound mortality, having never experienced mortality before. Both she and Molly are angry at Schmendrick, but he promises to turn her back at the end of their journey. They arrive at Haggard's castle, which is on this really craggy cliff on the sea. He is not a very welcoming host, but they are able to convince him that Schmendrick should be his court magician and maybe bring him a smile. He's made clear nothing gives him joy anymore. So that's how they're like, maybe this guy can. And he also takes an interest in the unicorn introduced in human form as Lady Amalthea. Molly Grew, meanwhile, is tasked with working in the kitchen. It's also revealed that other than the adopted Prince Lear, pretty much no one lives in this castle. On top of that, the magician that Haggard kicked out for Schmendrick recognizes the truth of Amalthea and warns Haggard he has invited in his own doom, and then disappears.
Don't forget
literally disappears. Oh, how could I forget the pirate cat that has an eye patch?
And he says, I'm a cat. I have to talk in riddles. But I'm like, but you also talk like a pirate. This doesn't make sense.
Yes.
I'm sorry, keep going.
It's so good. All right. So now experiencing human emotions for the first time, Amalthea finds herself confused and forgetting her existence as a unicorn and falling in love with Prince Lear. She even starts pondering the possibility of throwing her whole quest aside in favor of a mortal life with him. Haggard confronts her and admits he's disappointed in Lear, is depressed, and that he keeps trying to find happiness in the waves in the sea. He also threatens her, and he knows that there's more to her than she is letting on. More than meets the eye, perhaps, because when he first looked in her eye, all he could see was forest she was from, and then he looks into her eyes and he sees his reflection. So he knows something's up. Molly discovers the location of the Red Bull from the castle's talking pirate cat. Yes. They have to go to a skeleton, get the skeleton drunk, and wait for a certain time on the clock. The skeleton talks too, by the way. And the skeleton recognizes that Amalthea is a unicorn. But Molly, Schmendrick, Amalthea, and Lear make their way through the clock into some kind of magical realm and then into the Red Bull's lair. And Schmendrick reveals to Lear the truth of Amalthea's identity, and Lear proclaims he loves who he loves. Hearing this, Amalthea expresses her desire to forget about the unicorns and marry Lear, but he persuades her otherwise. Now trapped in the bull's lair by Haggard, the bull appears and is able to see through Amalthea's disguise. Schmendrick transforms her back into a unicorn. The bull starts herding her to the ocean as it has with all the other unicorns, but Lear attacks it, dying in the process. Yeah, the unicorn turns on the bull and forces him into the ocean just as he is done with the unicorns. The trapped unicorns, which were the whites of the tides, escape the water and the Red Bull is pushed under the surface. Haggard watches this unfold as his castle collapses and he is swallowed into the sea as he shouts, "The last! I knew you were the last!" The unicorn uses her magic to bring Lear back to life, but leaves him. Lear wants to fight for her, but Schmendrick tells him that he is perhaps the only human who can say he has won a unicorn's love. Schmendrick also apologizes to the unicorn for exposing her to regret and the feelings of mortality, but she argues the importance of her experiencing regret and love and how their actions help free the unicorns. She's basically like, is it better to have loved and lost or never to have loved at all? And she's like, it's better to have loved and lost. I know regret, and I'm glad that I do. She disappears into the forest as Schmendrick and Molly watch. And that's how it ends.
Molly doesn't get to say goodbye. She's asleep. I was very disappointed with that. Why couldn't Molly say goodbye?
Molly needed to say goodbye.
She should have been able to say goodbye. It was rude.
Yeah, I mean, the unicorn just leaves. The unicorn's like...
Just leave. Bye, homies, he said.
Yes. Well, I have a lot of thoughts about this whole thing, and I'm going to condense them. You can find a lot of articles about it online, though. I am not the only one who's thought about this. And recently it came back into theaters, and I was reading that people would do side-by-sides of somebody who's seen it before and someone who hasn't. It was really funny because the person who hasn't was like, "Oh, I cannot believe this is a child movie." Like, most of the time they loved it, but it was like, what?
So that would have been us. Me going, what the hell am I watching?
Yes. Oh, I love it. It does exist, though, if you would like to check it out. So I think, as I probably saw this when I was like 8 or 9 the first time. And even then, there were some things that just stood out to me because it was so different than a Disney movie. It's very melancholy. Like, the whole vibe of it is very lonely. And you can pick up on that pretty quickly. These are very flawed characters. All of them have, I would say, a pretty big flaw, or at least like something that stands out as they need to work on that. And the ending is very bittersweet. It's a very, very bittersweet ending. And for some reason, I loved it as a kid, which I'm going to talk about more in a minute, but I really loved it. And one of the things, especially with Molly Grew and that speech that meant so much to me, where she's essentially saying, like, how dare you come to me now when I am this, when I'm old? Because in most things we see, you're young when you meet the unicorn. Like, you're in the prime of your youth when that happens. And she's angry. Like, I remember that she was so angry at it. And the unicorn says, I'm here now. And it was just a very sweet, but very real scene.
Right. I feel like a part of that was also because when you first meet her, you think she's also a villain. The way she's like, gut Schmendrick, just gut him, just kill him, just gut him. He's magical. Get him out of here. Because she's already bitter. She's very much having to have taken care of these people. She's like obviously very, I feel like worn and everything. Yeah. And then she sees the unicorn, which is supposed to bring hope in life. And she's like, what the hell? Why can you do this in my prime before I lost all hope?
Yeah, exactly. She's just been having this kind of miserable life, and she sees the unicorn and it makes her angry. And I liked that take. But she kind of has a good angry cry, but then her and the unicorn are like, they worked it out and they're on good terms.
They worked it out.
They did.
And like her attitude changes because then she also is a really big encouragement for Schmendrick. She is like the force of reason among the group, it seems.
Yeah. She's very supportive. Because at first she was really mad at Schmendrick when he turned Amalthea into Amalthea. And then when Schmendrick was like, we have to change her back to a unicorn, and Molly was like, well, is that what she wants? Right. I don't know.
It's all about free will. But it does seem weird because she is also the one that said, Schmendrick, help. You're a magician. You're supposed to be, why don't you protect her when she was being like hurted by the Red Bull? And we just watched them watching. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I was like, y'all are doing nothing. Just like, okay, the bull's going to do the thing. Keep doing the bull thing, I guess.
Keep on keeping on. That's what the bull does. Yeah. And so Schmendrick, his whole thing is he can do magic, but it usually doesn't do the thing he wants it to do. So he didn't mean to turn the unicorn into a human woman. He was just trying to turn her into another animal so that the bull would lose interest. And that was part of the anger. I don't know if I can... The unicorn was distraught. Mm-hmm. Like, she was crying. She said, I can feel this body dying all around me. Like, she was devastated by this. And so I think it went from, he accidentally did this to now she's just dealing with all of these really heavy emotions, and she's confused. Like she forget where she is and who she is, and so I think Molly was really angry at first because of that. She saw this pain, but then when it seemed like she was adjusting to being human and happy, then she's like, well, maybe we should let her if that's what she wants. But yeah, there are a lot of themes around age and beauty and lost youth and a valuing of the young and innocent that you can see in Molly's monologue. Also, there's so many themes of power that I was talking about earlier, what you see in the kind of immortal realm. And so you have the power of the harpy, and then Mommy Fortuna coveting that power and wanting to control that power. To reiterate, I was terrified of the harpy. She is terrifying. The music is scary. It plays like every time like lightning goes off behind her. The design for the harpy is very, very terrifying. Okay, here's a quote I found from AV Club. There's no way to get around it. For children, The Last Unicorn is terrifying. The Rankin Bass animated feature, released in 1982, features a tremendous voice cast, but it's not the voices that stick in the mind, nor is it the story, though it certainly possesses many classical elements that contribute to its staying power. It isn't the music, the animation, or the message. No, the reason for The Last Unicorn's longevity is much simpler than any of that. It was scary as hell. Yes. I also found some articles when I was looking into kind of the feminism of this movie that they made the point that, the harpy has 3 pendulous breasts. The tree that almost killed Smendrick has these 2 big boobs, but they're not sexy. They're not sexualized. They're scary. They're a sexual nightmare. I feel like I heard someone describe it. And it again, Smendrick, he's the one that transformed the tree into that with his magic. And I think you could maybe read some things in there.
I mean, he's portrayed seemingly as younger in my mind for some odd reason, but maybe not, because I was like, wait, do he and Molly live happily ever after? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Or are they just platonic friends?
I don't know.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
but it kind of was like insinuating like they were going to be together with each other.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it ends with them together and presumably going to stay together, even if it's friends or otherwise. But I always I picked up on a kind of romantic thing, but I don't know. I don't know. There's also a lot of stuff in the movie about fake magic and truth. So again, going back to Spindrick's abilities, and it's played as a joke at first, because when he's trying to get the unicorn out of her cage, he tries to do all these spells and just makes things worse. And then he finally is like, well, I pickpocketed the keys, so we'll just do that. Mm-hmm. But over time, he gets better. And it's that's one of his failings, is that he's more concerned about his ability to do magic than he is about helping sometimes. And he also transforms the unicorn both times against her will, really. He doesn't ask her. He is trying to help her, but that's not really what she would have wanted. Mm-hmm. And then when you're talking about the traveling circus, where not only do you have these, like a regular lion spelled to look like a manicore, you have a real unicorn spelled to look like a unicorn, because people can't see it. Mm-hmm. So sort of the truth, people can't see the truth. They need the fake magic. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more at the end, but there's been a lot of conversation about that, and about people not being able to see her for what she truly is. Like, that's what she is, and they can't see her for that. She even has a line in there where she says men only see what they want to see. Mm-hmm. But just all of these illusions that are placed over this world, this lack of respect for magic.
Right. She does talk about, like, the fact when the men are talking about that horse, it's just a horse. She's like, how dare you? How dare you? Call me a mere mare.
Yeah.
Do you not see who I like? She's very offended.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, she is very offended by that. And I do kind of like, it's so hard to describe how strange this movie is at points. But I love how the strangeness is embraced as like, oh, butterflies are just strange that way. But she has like all this old world immortal knowledge, and we don't, as humans, we're like, what are you talking about? I love it. And then you have, I would say there's also Lear posturing and trying to win Amalthea over. So he keeps like fighting dragons and skinning them and presenting the skin to her, and she could care less. She is so unimpressed. But that's sort of the hero's journey, and I like that it's flipped here where she's like, leave me be, man. And he's so angry about it. He's like, I've done everything right. I'm the hero.
I also love Molly as a sounding board for him.
Yes.
She's like, well, maybe you should just talk to her. Maybe you should get to know her. Do you think she wants this thing?
Right. Maybe we should use our words. And she says, like, maybe the Lady Amalthea is not impressed by these heroic deeds. Yeah, she really is the voice of reason in a lot of ways. Oh, this brings us to one of the biggest themes, in my opinion. Regret, depression, and loneliness. Like I said, it hangs over this movie from the minute it starts. And it because of the way the animation is, which if you haven't seen this, but you happen to have seen the animated Lord of the Rings, this is the same studio.
That makes sense.
It's like quiet. Like there's no music. You can hear like the birds but it's
it
very
threw me off
quiet.
when the opening scenes happened because I have like little speaker surround sound, and I was like, what the hell are those birds?
Yeah, I mean, essentially you're just listening to the forest, and then the two hunters come in and they have this pretty heavy conversation about like, yeah, there are no more unicorns. If you're here, unicorn, you're the last. And it's just, then she's like, what?
How could I be?
How could I be the last? And then it does break into an America song. But it's just got this immediate loneliness, quiet, melancholy feeling about it. It just is very apparent. And her whole journey starts with her questioning, oh, am I the last? I can't be. It's a very lonely movie. Like everybody in it is lonely. And I mean, there are lines that when I was rewatching it for this, I just thought, wow, me as a kid, I did not understand that. But one of them is there are no happy endings because nothing ever ends. Mm-hmm. What kind of, oh my gosh. But that's kind of, Schmendrick says that to Molly. Oh,
with
yeah.
his dry wit and nonsensical abilities.
Yes. But it's got plenty of lines like that. It has that emotional Molly Grew speech. It has these really raw, clearly saying this is not the fairy tale that you get from Disney, pretty much. And that whole idea of her being the only unicorn to ever have known love and regret, and what she had to give up to save all of the other unicorns. There's another line Schmendrick has, don't cry. If you become human enough to cry, then all the magic in the world cannot change you back. Oof. But this is where me and my friends kind of disagreed. Because I thought she should have turned back into a unicorn. I liked that they didn't get together, her and Lear. Not because I just thought it was different. And I kind of appreciated that it ended on not an angry note, but just sort of like
death.
Well, he got brought back. He
does?
Yes. He does. She brings him back with her magic.
I thought she just touched him and he remained there the whole time that he laid there.
No, he comes back.
I was waiting for him to come back and he didn't. Did I miss that part?
Yeah. Yes. He comes back. And he's talking to, that's when Schmendrick tells him, you're the only one to have ever won over a unicorn.
Okay.
But that's why I love the line too.
I forgot that whole bit.
You were like, he's dead and gone.
He's dead. Good. Next. I think I really was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, he comes back and he asks to meet the unicorn again, and Schmendrick is kind of like, you got to go live your life. And so he does. He rides off.
Man, I really forgot that part.
Into the distance.
I just left him as dead.
No, she saved him. And that was the thing. That was how she was able to fight off the Red Bull, because she was being herded into the water, but then she was so upset
that
the Red Bull had killed him that she forced the Red Bull into the water and saved him.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The ending was like he died. Okay, good. He can't chase her. Moving on.
No. But that's what I liked about, he respected, we had that time. He said, I love whom I love. And then he went to go build his own community. And I like how the unicorn was like, I'm glad I'm no regret. I have known regret, and I don't feel worse for it. I feel better for it. I thought that was very unique, and I liked it. Mm-hmm. But my friends were like, they should have gotten together, lived happily ever after, and all of this. And then we got into a fight about attractiveness. And
no.
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
Y'all did too much.
We had a lot of thoughts about this movie. And then, obviously, I remember the first time I watched this as like an adult. And it was so clear to me this is about depression.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with King Haggard, they don't even try to hide it. He is depressed. He is miserable. Nothing makes him happy. He cages the unicorns because he hopes that's the only thing that brings him a little bit of hope, a little bit of happiness when he sees them. But he is still so unhappy. He adopted his son in hopes that the son would make him happy, and he didn't. And he doesn't care for him, and it's very mean to him.
Well, he says, it says in each, including the magician, when he had the original magician, it's like they did for a minute, and then
for a minute, yeah.
But also, it could be a lot to say, and I know you're going to probably jump into it in a minute, and you're going to say it. For me, it felt like not necessarily depression, but about men's dissatisfaction, and so they're going to they will destroy everything to get what they think will satisfy them.
Yes. And that segues into what I think the Red Bull kind of represents, which is male rage, or just like a determination to make yourself feel better. And it doesn't matter anything else, because he is not satisfied. He has, it's got to be hundreds of unicorns in the water, but he wants every single one.
Like that's the greed, like corporation greed and billionaire greed is like, yeah, I could, but why would I? It's for me. And I will step on everything.
Right.
And everyone in order to keep it for myself.
Yeah. And kind of the environmentalist angle would also be they protect their woods. And once they're gone, their woods are fair game.
Up for grabs.
Yeah, for hunters. So if he has all of these hundreds of unicorns, then that's hundreds of woods that have been left unprotected. But yeah, he's very cold, and he's very angry and just volatile. And he is trying to find a way to expose Amalthea. And she's honestly not even trying to hide anything from him. At this point, she's so confused by being immortal. She doesn't know. And he's just yelling at her. And she's like,
calm down, sir.
Yeah. Well, and then in the end, I think this is interesting about the two main villains in the movie, Mami Fortuna and King Haggard, is that their final words are so telling, because his are like, I knew it. I knew you were the last.
Like they're willing to die and destroy everything just to get what they want.
Yes. Yeah. He was almost ecstatic. He was like, I knew it. And she was too. Mami Fortuna was too. She was like, you will never forget I caged you.
And like, I guess content warning here, but like it kind of reminds me of like a rapist. That power They just know. They don't care if they die. They don't care if they're punished. They just want you to know they have the power.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was determined to have it. And you know, the other interesting thing about that is, as I said, he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy at all. Even the unicorns, they would give him like a little bit. So all of that destruction and all of that power, he couldn't stop doing it, but he also was just not happy. It wasn't going to happen.
Which, by the way, there may be at a point where I saw pieces of this movie because I remember the horses in the water and I thought he meant he drowned them and killed them.
Oh.
And that was like that's how he kept them. So keeping their bodies in the water. I feel like I had that memory.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah. It is when you realize they're alive, it is a cool scene when you see them coming up in the waves.
Like they've been suffocating the entire time and drowning the entire time and can't die. But
this is when they come
misery.
out. Another thing about this is no one really truly achieves their dreams. I guess you could argue that the unicorn does in freeing the unicorns, but now she's got this regret. The magician starts as a pretty bad magician. He gets better, but he still can't control it necessarily. Molly is just adrift because she gave up her life for this, and now it's the unicorn's going her own way, Lear's going his own way, and she's got the magician, but her dream of meeting a unicorn kind of comes and goes, and then Lear's dream of being a hero, because he goes to fight the Red Bull to save the unicorn, but then pretty much immediately dies, and
she can only save herself.
Yeah. Exactly. So that brings us to another theme, love and change. So this is something I also really adore about this movie, is that you do see change in the characters. You see change, and even if it doesn't result in the kind of fairy tale, the Disneyfied fairy tale ending, because we all know that the original fairy tales are pretty grim.
Also, we also have tragedies like Bambi, where they have to kill off the parents. So they're not all great.
But they start bad and get happy.
Yes. So we think, although the hound and the fox and the hound,
yeah.
No, I don't think that's a good ending.
That's a rough one.
Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Yes.
Traumatized. Childhood trauma.
Childhood trauma. But, there are these moments where the unicorn, who seemingly has never really met other unicorns, or it's been a long, long time since she's connected with one, having that loneliness, and then meeting these friends, but still kind of feeling disconnected from them because she's immortal, she's not human, and then getting turned into a human, and that experience changing her. There's even a song in there, Now That I'm a Woman, Everything Has Changed. There's also a song called Walking Man's Road. And that song gets stuck in my head all the time, just randomly out of nowhere. But through her experience knowing humans, becoming a human, she does experience love, experience regret, and changes. And for that. And I really like that. And she chooses to stay a unicorn in face of it. After experiencing that, she still is no, I'm a unicorn, but I'm glad I had that experience. And I think she says a part of her will always love Lear. So it's it didn't go away. She had this thing that really changed her. Another big piece is being true to yourself. So she fights the Red Bull when it was supposed to be impossible for her to do so because of what she learned being human, but also because of her being a unicorn and understanding who she is and what she's capable of. And no surprise at all to me, there are a lot of queer takes on the unicorn's transformation to a woman and coming back to her true self. There's that kind of none of you exist narrative. Like, there's no other unicorns. You're the only one. You should blend into the world. But then she was like, no, I'm a unicorn. People are going to see me as a unicorn because that is what I am. Here's a quote from Transgen X-Girl. But like trans folks who feel the need to apply various accoutrements early in their transitions, binders, wigs, shapewear, excessive makeup, hyper-feminine or hyper-masculine clothing and accessories, the unicorn knows she is still not her true self. She even admits at one point that her human body is dying all around her. Yeah, she had to come back to who she really was. The unicorn has also been read as being ace. Which
that makes sense.
Yeah. And I was like, that does make sense. Now that you mention it. Mm-hmm. Because she's not the unicorn. She's like, oh.
She doesn't need that.
No. Mm-mm.
She cool. Leave her be.
Yeah.
She didn't need a unicorn mates. She didn't know they weren't there. So that's to say,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I clearly love this movie. I think that just the animation and the feeling of it's not sadness, it's just melancholy. It's just, I don't know, but it is hopeful. I would love if anybody wrote in if you have seen it or if you watch it after this and it's your first time.
Them boobies, they come out of nowhere.
Yeah, they do. They do. But thank you, Samantha, for going on this traumatizing journey with me.
Amazing. Amazing journey.
I had a joy. I was singing at the TV. It was great. Well, listeners, you can send us any of your thoughts. You can email us at hello@stuffmonevertoldyou.com. You can find us on Blue Sky at Mom Stuff Podcast or on Instagram and TikTok at Stuff One Never Told You. We're also on YouTube and we have a book you can get wherever you get your books. Thanks as always to our super producer Christine, our executive producer Maya, and our contributor Joey.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for listening. Stuff One Never Told You is a production by iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your favorite shows.